Hey everyone, my name is Perry and welcome back to the cassette phase. So as my fledgling little YouTube channel here continues to grow, I have had a few people reach out about seeing a tour of the den here. And so I figured why not? So that's what we're gonna do today. And those of you who have been here, you know that my intros can be a little bit long-winded at times. So I'm gonna try to keep it brief today so we can jump into the tour. But if you are new around here, I want to just quickly say that we talk about anything and everything nostalgic here, mostly from our childhoods in the 80s and the 90s. Anything from toys and action figures to physical media, like VHS tapes and DVD sets and audio cassettes. We talk about video games and cartoons and anything that lets us revisit those fun and simple times, even if it's just for a few minutes. So if that sounds like fun to you, consider subscribing. But for today though, let's go ahead and start the tour. I'm going to show you what I can without making the video too long, hopefully, and share some stories along the way like we always do here. So if you're ready to go, come hang out. Okay guys, I gave you the quick 360-degree view of the room. So now let's go through things in a little bit more detail so I can kind of show you around here. This is obviously the spot you know well at this point, hopefully. But let's just start over here at the beginning. When you first come in the room, I've got a couple of things hanging. An old Simpsons arcade ad and an animation cell from the My Pet Monster cartoon series. Up top, I've got a couple of NFL pennants from a couple of teams that I liked a lot as a kid. I just really like the style of those types of pennants. I've got a few of them around the room. Going this way, I've got a Simpsons Butterfinger ad poster. Love that. And then some more pennants. You know, I'm originally from Arkansas, so these were kind of the teams that we followed when I lived there, since we didn't have a professional sports team of our own. And it kind of just stuck with me. Now here we have a filing cabinet, which got my vintage fan on the top, a few miscellaneous knickknacks. Oh, really quick, behind that boombox, here's a little nostalgia hack for you. That boombox does play. It doesn't sound the best, but it does play. But if you put a Bluetooth speaker behind it, you can kind of create the illusion that you're listening to music on an old boombox. Now I do have a better boombox on the other side of the room that I'll show you guys that I do listen to frequently for my tapes and CDs. So let's talk a little bit about the filing cabinet here. First of all, the sides are covered in this faux wood grain, like wallpaper or contact paper that I found at an estate sale a couple years ago. Really random, but it was vintage. You could tell by the packaging. I just thought, I don't know, I love the way faux wood grain looks on random items. But inside the cabinet, so these top two drawers are all full of comics. You know, they're pretty well organized for the most part. I think I've got them mostly alphabetized. And the way that I know if I've read one or not, because I can't obviously remember, but I will write down the date that I read it on the back of the board so that I'll know. Second drawer, same thing, more comics, all the way to the back. But then as we go down lower here, the third drawer, and I got my lighter for my candle, TV series on DVD. And these are not all of them, but several of them anyway. They fit in there pretty well. And then on the very bottom, same thing, but cartoon series. And a little bit of overflow from the TVs, like the sitcoms and things too. You'll see here with like Who's the Boss, but mostly cartoons. All right, let's keep it moving. Got some random magnets, a 1992 bird calendar. And you all know this backdrop, I think. That is my original Pound Puppy from childhood, and that's Lucky. I love mixing in these kinds of like stitched little art pieces. They really fit in with the vibe that I'm going for in here. Now I got this print at like an expo a few years back. I think the artist's name is Timothy Doyle, I believe. But he does these awesome art pieces of like pop culture locations and things. And this is obviously Moe's from The Simpsons. Just love that. You got Bleeding Gums Murphy, looks like, on the side there. Just love the colors. There's the can collection, at least the top 15 cans, the ones that I like to keep out, you know, most of the time. My little vintage Simpsons Home Sweet Home. I've always just loved that Alf picture, so I did what any cool person would do. I went and had it printed out and framed it and put it on my wall. R.I.P. to Benji Gregory too, by the way. Super sad to hear about that this week. Some more birds. Right beneath a TMNT TV tray. Now, what household in the 80s didn't have this kind of picture frame, like in their hallway or their living room? So I went through and made it like a family album of a lot of the favorite characters from my favorite shows and movies. Yeah. All right. Moving along to this corner. And it's a little packed over here in this corner, but I'm okay with that. Here we've got the Sony, where I watch most of my VHS tapes and DVDs. Down in those VHS drawers are where I keep all of the Christmas and holiday tapes that I have. This little to be read cart, I guess you could call it, that's where I keep just some random things, like the comics that I want to read next are all stacked here. Same thing with some of the books. I also keep a stack of old word find puzzles right there on top, because when I get stressed out, I'll pull one of those out and do it really quick, and it really helps. Is that weird? I don't know. I like word searches though. Then we've got the E.T. soundtrack on vinyl, framed. As you guys probably know, E.T. is my favorite movie of all time. We've got a California Raisins vintage poster framed there. And a scene from The Wizard. Moving up, we've got a vintage Q*bert plushie just hanging out up top. My Today's Special coffee mug. Anyone remember that show? That's going way back. We've got a Nerfle. Those are fun. We've got the Mr. Plow Funko Pop. Some random treasures, Garfield Kool-Aid, the Alf Lunchbox, vintage Dallas Cowboys coffee mug, California Raisins piggy bank, and just some other random stuff. I found this old clock at an antique mall. I love it. It doesn't even really work very well, but it just reminds me of something you'd see hanging in a diner someplace on the side of the road. Okay, moving along to the desk area here. Like I mentioned before, I do work from home, so this is where I do that. It's got a few fun things. It's not all about work. Got my superhero mouse pad, got a Pac-Man coaster where I keep my drinks. Underneath, I've got a Mighty Ducks trash can. Remember when every bedroom back in the day had a trash can like that? Got a Bucky O'Hare figure there, some vintage office supplies, staplers and tape dispensers. Tasmanian Devil there holding all the pens. Underneath, a vintage banker's light. Love that. Moving over to this corner. This is where I keep my audio cassettes. Still have room for plenty more, as you can see. But a decent collection. And then I will actually listen to these pretty frequently, because that shelf unit works and it actually sounds awesome. On top there, I've got a couple of my favorites just hanging out. Got the little boombox California Raisin. And then I've got my remote control caddy, so I can control the various TVs and VCRs and DVD players that are in this room. More audio cassette and CD storage down here, along with some random odds and ends. And then of course, this is where my pet Monster hangs out. That's where he lives. All right, so let me back out of here for a minute, then we'll start going through the shelves. Okay, starting up top. I think the word that you'll hear a lot from me throughout this tour is miscellaneous, because while a lot of the things in this room are really well organized, I like all of this stuff to be mixed up. That's just how I find it most appealing. I like things to be, you know, a pop of this here, a pop of that there, just all mixed up. And I've considered, you know, putting things together in categories and, you know, grouping all the turtles together and grouping all the He-Man stuff together, but I don't know. This just works for me. Going back up here just for a second. I also like to stick some of my coffee mugs in random spots on the shelves. So you'll see coffee mugs hiding all throughout these shelves here. Not everything's vintage. Some of these are modern. Turtles with some Nintendo games behind them. Mantenna. Got some of my children's books here. Alf on DVD. Another coffee mug, another Alf. telephone, of course. More bird pictures. You'll see a lot of those. Next to She-Hulk. And just some other treasures. Remember those old bubble bath containers? And who didn't have the Fisher-Price tape recorder? I basically learned how to read with that thing, with those books on tape from back in the day. And then some catalogs, some board games, another boombox. As we get closer to the holidays, I'm going to do some videos with you guys where we flip through those catalogs and take a look at them. All right, let's slowly move you back up here. This little hologram sticker came from 8-Bit Zombie, and I know I've mentioned his site before, but just such awesome things on that website. 8-Bit Zombie. Sticker was so great I just had to frame it. Got a big old GoBots toy up there up top. I like to put these little PVC figures in front of my books. I think that gives a cool look. Danger Mouse. That's a blast from the past. And then just some more random fun stuff sitting on top of some of my records down here. Oh, I see another duck picture back there. And you got some modern books and things mixed in with some retro figures. And as I mentioned when I was reorganizing the VHS closet a few days ago, my most commonly viewed tapes live out here on this shelf. A lot of my favorites are right there. You guys seeing anything that sparks any kind of memory? And it's kind of hard to get to all these shelves because I do have like a credenza here that's holding my TV, one of my other TVs. But the stuff on the bottom shelves I don't access too often anyway. You can kind of see some clamshell VHS back there. A light bright box, which is actually really cool. A Pound Puppies piggy bank, a Sectar. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. So we'll talk about the credenza and the TV here in a minute. Let's keep moving with the shelves. Can't really see, but Roger Rabbit is down there, sitting on top of some records. More books, more figures, more random nostalgia. I'm a big Calvin and Hobbes fan. I think I've read every single one. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, if you're ever having a stressful day and you want to relax a little bit, read some Calvin and Hobbes, I'm telling you. It does wonders. Oh, back there we've got a vase full of random action figures. I don't know if you can see that, but thought that was kind of funny. I didn't have spots for all those guys, but I didn't want to get rid of them, so they're in a glass vase on top of a shelf. Some things that you guys have seen before in some of the other videos. Another Wuzzle figure hanging out next to Swamp Thing. Remember these old books that would help you beat certain games? I need to get number 1. Randomly nostalgic object here with the Dixie cup dispenser. And my favorite micro machine. The little Lamborghini there. More fun stuff. My DVD set of The Wonder Years, which is one of, if not my top favorite TV show ever. It's right up there with like The Simpsons, some others. NFL pencils. More clamshell tapes. More Wuzzles. Got some comics collections here. My pencil sharpener. The original 4 Ninja Turtles. And Splinter. And then just a basket of PVCs that I didn't really have a spot for. So that's it for the bookshelves. Here's another old diner clock that I love. Also not operating, but that's okay. Here I've got the Ninja Turtles Coming Out of Their Shells tour poster. Framed in a frame that's what else but wood grain. Some random carded figures and vehicles. I just loved the card art on these. And then just some more books and magazines and things hanging out down here. Okay, so now we've reached the closet where I keep all the VHS tapes. And a Fraggle Rock calendar. I love the art on that calendar. Pretty sure everyone has seen in here already, but if you haven't, let me do a quick pass through since it is part of the den. VHS storage, and this was just recently reorganized. If you haven't watched that video, go take a look. Okay, and then coming out of the VHS closet, we've got one of my most prized possessions, and that is this 1981 console television. Now, does it work? Yes, technically it does work. The VCR that I had connected to it is no longer working, so right now I don't have anything hooked up, but it does function. I will say that the picture is kind of going out on it. The picture tube is just about done, which is to be expected. So I can turn it on and watch something once in a while, but really it's just a piece of furniture for me at this point, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And this is kind of the view that you guys get when we're looking at things here on the rug. Speaking of the rug, I drove about an hour to get this off of Facebook Marketplace. It was just perfect. It's the colors that I wanted. It reminds me of the rug that's in Elliot's bedroom in E.T. Couldn't be happier with it. Probably noticing a lot of brass too. I mean, what says 80s more than brass? Brass lamps. You got the anniversary clock, which has some brass on it. Brass and wood grain, kind of what I'm going for. Got an ashtray, TV guide. I'm a big fan of Fleetwood Mac, and this is from their tour in 2013 that we went to. And then some more grandmother art. So when I do need to watch something or play something a little bit more modern, that's what the smart TV is for. It's just easier sometimes. I know it doesn't fit in with the technology of the rest of the room, but I'm okay with it. I've made my peace with that at this point. Sometimes you just want to watch YouTube or stream something, you know? Another ashtray. Got my Halloween McDonald's bucket there holding the plant. Artificial plant, of course. This one over here is real. That's Wilma. She's been with me a long time. Not looking so great right now, but hanging in there. We don't get the best, you know, natural light in here, but we get some. And we've got another brass lamp. And I know you guys are loving the doilies. Don't act like you're not. Can't have peaceful retro vibes in your room without some doilies. And that's pretty much it, guys. Let's do one more quick little rotation. So tell me in the comments, do you have a happy place like this that you can go to and unwind? You know, a comfortable spot where you can, you know, read or play video games or, you know, watch your shows and your movies. What's that like for you? Because this is pretty much what I'm working with here. And there are other elements around our house here that have, you know, some vintage and some retro things there. And maybe one day I'll show you the rest of the house and we can look at some of those items too. But like I said, the den here is where I go for all this stuff. Read, play video games, watch movies, work, all of the above. And there we are. So now you've seen where I spend a lot of my time. And I really appreciate you guys coming along and allowing me to share stories from my silly little hobby here. There's definitely more to come. But for now though, and as always, relax, enjoy life, and be kind. We'll see you in the next one.